Hello, Year 5 and 6. This is the last Friday feedback.
Oh no!
Ooh, but it's good. We've got some lovely work. We've got obviously some English, some maths, and some theme work. So it's going to be exciting. I think this is what the order we're going to do. We're going to do Mr. Hall first, then we're going to do Mrs. Lodge, then we're going to do myself, and then we're going to do Miss Stray.
Grand
Okay?
finale.
Oh, okay.
Are we ready? So,
I think
let's
we
do it.
are.
Mr. Hall, off you go.
Thank you very much. So I'm going a little bit different today because I normally only talk about reading work, and I'm going to start with some reading work, but then I'm going to just share a little piece of work from a young lady in my class, because I'm just so happy to see some work from her. She's now working in school with a lot of our year sixes in school, and it was so lovely to see a piece of her work. But I will start with some reading. No, going on the wrong one. There we go. I will start with some reading. So this was a letter, and we're very, very near the end of Pig Heart Boy now. And towards the end, Cameron, who is the main character, who's had this heart transplant and has had this pig's heart transplanted into his body, the press find out about it, and a lot of sort of wildlife campaigners find out, and they're really against it because this pig is obviously had to die in order to transplant the heart into Cameron. And they send him and his family some horrible, horrible letters that are really abusive, really unkind, call them all sorts of nasty things. So I set the children the task of writing a letter in response to this. And this is one of the letters from a year 6 in Cyprus class that they responded with. I've highlighted in green things that impressed me. So that's my touch. They didn't do these bits in green. So we've got it set out perfectly. You've got the sender address at the top right. You've got the recipient address just below that to the left. I should probably have highlighted to whom it may concern, because they're writing to an organisation, the LEPER office. And because it's an organisation they're writing to, they don't know the name of the person who's going to be reading this letter first, which means we need to open with that, to whom it may concern, instead of instead of dear sir or madam type thing. We've got lots of really good fronted adverbials with the commas as well, helping sort of list the reasons why, or list the argument as to why the letter that Cameron received was so horrible. So it's a really good sort of structural use of those fronted adverbials. Trying to make the person reading this empathize with you as a person is a really good persuasive technique. So that bit where it says, but you haven't listened to our part of the story, I thought that was really powerful, because it reminds the person reading that this is a real person that they've been abusing, that they've been saying horrible things to, and they've not thought about the other side to the story. Something that when we're all a bit wound up and cross, maybe that we're all quite quick to forget the other side. And then this sentence here I really liked. So, I never understood what "do not judge a book by its cover" means, but now I get what that meant after someone
foolish,
that's it, thank you. You showed precisely what it means. So that idea that this person's judged the situation without really understanding
that's really good.
Really, really powerful. And then the only thing, I don't normally do this, but I thought, well, whilst I'm here and whilst we've got lots of letters in, I will briefly point out the only real mistake I found. A couple of little grammar things and bits here and there, but the only thing is to remember that if we've started with "to whom it may concern," we need to end with "yours faithfully" instead of "yours sincerely" at the end. So just a little bit of a little development point to end on there, but a really, really lovely word process, really well set out, beautifully written letter.
It's a really impressive response. You can tell they've really thought about that character and got into that character's feelings and thoughts, and like written that so strongly. I don't know who's written that. It's really, really lovely to see.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Very, very impressive.
Really nice.
And I know that their secondary school teacher, when they move up into year 7, is going to be a huge fan of their writing as well.
Yeah.
So this is from another year 6. This is actually one of your tasks, Miss Stray, isn't it, that you set with the writing? But this is from a young lady in my class, which is the only reason I sort of thought I'll be a bit cheeky with the rules, and I'll show this one off a bit. But just so lovely to see what they're getting up to in school. I'm really jealous that I can't be in school and in there seeing them again, but it's lovely to still see their work. That's sort of a second best, I suppose. And just nice to see all those techniques that we practice so often in our English lessons of drafting our work and then redrafting and then doing our neat write-up. It's got all the techniques you would hope to see in a bit of a story. It's got some really powerful authorial techniques. It's got speech, which has been punctuated correctly. It's got expanded noun phrases, fronted adverbials.
Semicolons.
Some correct use of semicolons, which is one of the really important things. That's kind of that ticking over from year 5 into year 6 is when we start really mastering those semicolons. So just a really, really lovely thing to see. And I thought I'd show it because I think maybe some of the children haven't realized just how much all of their teachers have seen of their work. I think some children think that the only work I ever look at is the reading. The only work Mr. Evans ever looks at is the thinking. Miss Lodge only ever gets to see the maths. And I just thought, maybe we've done it. Maybe I've done it a bit late. Maybe I should have done it earlier, but make it really clear to them that actually we're seeing all their work. If they're in our class, we're being sent it to each other so that we can see just what they're getting up to. And we're all really, really proud of everything they've been doing.
Yeah. And even though they've done it in school, they're still in school working so much more independently than when they were all last in school together because of all the social distancing. They're having to, really do all that on their own. So
it's phenomenally impressive, and I'm so proud of how they've coped with this really difficult. I think they've coped better than I have quite a lot of the time. I think I've been tearing my hair out. Not that you'd know it from the mop that's currently on my head, but
I've gone grey. So.
Right. Back to our host. Back to Mr. Evans.
Amazing. That was brilliant. That was wonderful. I really like seeing all that lovely work. It was great. Now let's go to maths. Let's see some maths.
Okay.
I might have still got you locked out. Hold on. There we go.
Yes, let me share. There we go.
Can you share?
That's it.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm there. Right, let me get the right one. Oh, I'm not in the right bit. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so I haven't put quite as much on so you could actually see a bit more today. So year 5, obviously, they've now been really back in their Power Maths books, doing loads of work in there. Hopefully watching the little videos to practice, and I've been trying to get the sharing bit where they've been doing things as we're going along and then coming into their books. We've been doing loads of conversion, which I know everybody hates because it's really difficult. They've been doing time and measure and looking at really tricky stuff, and some lovely, lovely work. And people are as well really good at starting to question things if they're getting a little bit stuck. And then we've moved on to volume with cubes, which I've had some work as well back from other children who have maybe found some of the other maths a bit more difficult and have actually really started to access because it's a bit more practical. So that's been really nice, the change of topic as well. So that's been lovely. And then last week, at the end of last week, there's a couple of things on here. So first of all, the end of unit checks. I put this one on because I thought it was lovely to see. Oh, sorry, where's done? That they're doing the end of unit checks and also the power play back in their book where there's the journal and all of that. And so if they haven't got the books, they're copying it out really nicely. And then I set an arithmetic paper for the year 5s last week, which I think some of them really enjoyed, and they were getting parents to time them, and then they went and marked through, and some really good results of what people are still able to do and remembering and using all those skills that they've been learning. So I thought that was nice to see those on there.
It's great. It's nice to see the different methods as well. I just particularly look at number 9, where it's 5 times 7 times 3. They've done 7 times 3 and then 21 times 5, but they know 7 times 3, and then they've done column multiplication. So it's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, really good. Really good. And then some of them have gone back and corrected bits where they've made mistakes, or come and ask questions to me if they weren't sure how to answer them, which was lovely. And then for year 6, it's got really quite tricky because we've been doing sort of ratio and proportion, which I have to say is one of my worst. I hate ratio proportion. It's so tricky. But they've been doing a brilliant job. Scale factors, just so many different things that always come at this time of year, you know, before transition and all the really tricky things, and they're having to do it by themselves. So I'm just really, really proud of them, you know, working really hard, watching their little videos and sending things in. So yeah, just fantastic. And that is me. Look how quick I am this week.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, I know. That's good.
Amazing. Fantastic.
It's good though, that ratio stuff, because I always think there's a handful of things in maths that even today with our calculators on our phones that we've always got with us, if you don't know certain things in maths, the calculator can't help you. And ratio is a little bit like that. You've got to have some understanding of ratio before you could even use a calculator to help you. And particularly when you're stuck in lockdown.
I can't just use my calculator.
You can't use it,
not for this one.
It's a cop out.
It is. But yeah, if you're stuck in lockdown and you're wanting to make some cakes and you need to know how many of this to put in for this amount, and ratios
it's
crucial.
Hard. Yeah.
Or honestly, when you're thinking, oh, Mr. Hall's been trapped in lockdown for a long time. If I'm going to be in his class in September, I bet he'd like me to bring him some cakes on the first week back.
How many are going to be?
And they need to use that in some way, but then ratio can be really useful.
I've been trying to
double the amount because
that's
been a long time.
Next door.
Exactly.
I've been trying to use ratios for making pizzas and stuff. It's very, very challenging.
Have you made some pizzas, Mr. Evans?
Oh, I've made loads of pizzas.
Oh,
so 70%.
Talking of pizza, I'm going to check butt in because I've got a really good one. You know how normally when you make pizza dough, you have to put yeast in? We've got a really cool recipe where all you need is natural yogurt and flour.
Oh wow.
And it is delicious.
Wow.
It's really good.
Oh, that's really interesting actually.
And because the natural yogurt has got bacteria in it, that's what makes makes it rise, and it is divine. It's really good.
That's how you make naan bread. I made a naan bread the other day as well.
Right,
come on.
Let's get back to it.
It's me now. It's me. Right, okay. Can I share? I can. I'm sharing my screen.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, yes. Right, so we were talking about rewilding, and so that's putting animals back in the wild. And there's 3 animals that used to be in the wild in England or Great Britain that are not in the wild anymore. And I selected 3 different animals that potentially could go back into the wild. So there was one that's not on here called the pine marten, but I've just chosen the beaver, and then there's 2 people that have done the lynx as well. And it's just really, really informative. Describe what they're like. And there was one interesting fact about the beavers. They cohabitate with humans really well. Really well. And they really care for the environment. So they're really good for dams.
They're really good for stopping floods and things, aren't they? They naturally create floodplains and things like that, which are really useful.
Really excellent. So they said I would like to prefer beavers reinforcement. So I want the beaver back in the wild. The lynx. So there's an argument with lynx that farmers, they're going to kill sheep and it's going to ruin farming. When actually they don't really do that. They kind of hunt other animals. They're not really up for sheep. They're not down for sheep. So this is really, really interesting. They're really interesting. And they've reintroduced lynx into the wild in other countries in Europe. But it'll be really interesting if they do that in
it would be amazing to see wild lynx.
It would, wouldn't it? I think they're so shy though and so elusive that even if we had them, because I think Scotland looked into doing it, and they did it with some, and then because Scotland have got the bobcat, which is like the wild cat already, and you barely ever see them. And I believe Rutland, it's the smallest county in the UK and isn't too far away from us. I think they've started to introduce some beavers back as a sort of trial thing as well. So
that's amazing.
It's interesting. I found it very, very interesting.
Really interesting.
Received some really good work. And then this one was to see how we can improve the environment in Nottingham. So what we need to do, what have I done? I've done something. Right, here we go, we're good. So things that could help the environment in Nottingham. So they could say we could, more cycle paths to be added in Nottingham. So people are encouraged to use their bikes more to commute to work or whatever. Use our cars less, so there's less CO2 emissions. Free bus travel, so people will be encouraged to use the bus more. And they've done a petition. So some people have done a petition where people have signed it. And it's
lovely. That's great.
And I've said that, you know, with certain things, if they get a certain number of signatures, the city council have to have a look at the petition and have to assess it. And I just think it's really, really good. Just really wonderful. Showing that they care about the environment. And lots of like, green is life. And we need to save our nature and save the environment. No more CO2. Really catchy headlines. So excellent. Really, really impressive.
Really good.
Very
Fantastic.
good.
I love it. So that's me. And then we're on to Miss Stray.
Grand finale.
How do I stop? I'll stop. I need to stop sharing. Stop sharing.
There we go.
So I'm going to show just one piece of work this week for a change. I got sent loads of amazing adventure stories, really, really impressive. But if I were to show all of them, we'd be here till the middle of next week. So I went through them and I've just picked out one that I love because it's got a great plot. It's got some great language features. I can see how much they've used all of the lessons for that unit and put it into their writing. But I'm going to need some help for reading this. So I'm going to take you three actually. Surprise! And you are going to help me with this. So Mr. Hall, I would like you to be the character of Zach in the story, thank you. Mrs. Lodge, if you can be Izzy. And Mr. Evans, I'm going to narrate, but if you feel there's an appropriate time to put in some sound effects, please go for it.
Right, okay. Can you give me 2 seconds? Right. Oh God.
He's off.
Oh. He might be taking the sound effects very seriously.
Can you all see that?
Gonna have to lean forward.
I'm going to appear a bit closer. I haven't got my glasses on, Duck. They're in another room.
Oh no. Maybe if I...
Right. Sound effects are ready.
So you're all okay. You can read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm a bit close to the screen now, but
this is from a year 5 child in Redwood class, and it was just lovely to see this piece of work from him. I didn't know what a great writer. It's so lovely to see all these amazing writers coming. So it's called The Dragon Egg Hunt. The inhabitants of the village in the Amazon rainforest were talking about a dragon's egg inside a temple near the river. The story had been picked over so many times that nobody was quite sure what the truth was. But now it's time to find this mystery.
Are you with me?
Said Zach to Izzy.
Do I have a choice?
Replied Izzy. Zach and Izzy were walking swiftly and carefully through the dense rainforest. Izzy was scared, even though it was daytime, of wild animals out there. But Zach's excitement kept her moving. Utter silence, except for the cracking noise made by the twigs under their feet.
We're going to be eaten by a puma,
said Izzy.
Think positive and keep moving,
said Zach as they passed through dense wilderness. The more they walked, the further it seemed like they would have walked for a couple of hours, and it was getting dark when Zach said,
"Is that a light, or am I just imagining?"
No, you're not imagining. I can also see it.
As Izzy grabbed Zach's hand. As they moved closer, they noticed that the light was a ball of fire, around which a few people had gathered.
Oh God, I hope they're not cannibals,
said Izzy. Even before she could move, Zach had already approached them and had made friends in no time. They are people of the forest, very kind and gentle. Oh, this is actually Zach speaking. Oh. Sorry, Zach.
That's all right. They are people of the forest, very kind and gentle, and they've promised to tell us the way to the egg.
Izzy and Zach stayed the night and concentrated on what the village people told them. The next morning, they got up and started walking in the direction of the river. It was loud and powerful, clear as a crystal at some places and murky brown at others.
There are river beasts and alligators in the water. Keep your eyes open at all times,
said Zach. As they moved forward, they reached a point where they had to cross. There was a log stuck between rocks on one side and the riverbank on the other side.
We have to walk over it to get to the other side,
said Zach.
No way, that's just way too acrobatic for me,
claimed Izzy.
Just follow my lead. Open your arms to balance your body. Look straight and go for it,
Zach explained as they both crossed slowly. They found a field with wildebeests.
Be careful, Zach, you don't want to alarm them and be run over,
warned Izzy. Walking endlessly and ready to give up, they stumbled across stones that looked man-made but hidden in plain sight.
It can't be this simple,
said Zach to Izzy. They ran together through the rocks and reached the stairs to the temple. Excited, they ran as fast to the top as they entered the temple, only to find paintings on the walls pointing towards a bigger temple and the dragon's egg.
I knew it. It's just another map,
claimed Izzy with disappointment.
I'm not giving up. I've come too far,
said Zach. Determined to get there before nightfall, both Zach and Izzy picked up their pace, following the map from the temple. The river water became clearer and blue.
Let's cross over here to the other side,
pointed Izzy. To their surprise, there was the highest staircase they had ever seen, leading to a temple surrounded by a canopy of trees. Pulling each other to the top, on the last step, Izzy gasped.
Oh my God, do you see what I see?
I see it too. We made it,
shouted Zach. What they both were looking at was not any ordinary dragon's egg. It was the glimmery golden dragon egg, the rarest, most precious of all. Jumping up and down, their excitement was beyond expression. Finally, they had found what they were looking for.
Oh, yeah, that is brilliant. I love that story.
It was an incredible story, wasn't it?
That is really amazing.
Really good.
That's one of those stories that next year I'll be using as the model text
as an example.
To show the children how to
Definitely really good.
An amazing adventure story, and the plot, like about the dragon's egg, and you could really tell what Zach and Izzy were like as characters from everything they said.
Yeah, you really
good. That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love Zach just
amazing
walking into this group of people, sitting down, chatting to them, going on his way.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
Really good, really good.
Amazing.
Thanks for your support in reading that as well.
We did well.
And sound effects, guys. Well done.
Yeah, good. Well, they made me
they saw the kazoo.
I needed to get my kazoo. Luckily, it was on the shelf, so I could get it straight away. Excellent. Good. Well, this is our last Friday feedback show. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you've been amazing.
Presenting all this wonderful work.
Absolutely.
Really good.
So, watch on YouTube.
Soon, hopefully.
And we'll hopefully see you soon. Yeah.
Hopefully so.
Bye.
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 Bye.